Hello everyone. It's Mr. Shield here, and it's time for history with Mr. Shield. I hope you're all right. I hope you're feeling good. We're going to be learning a bit more about ancient Greece today as part of our Persia and Greece topic, and we're looking at the gods of Greece today, a little bit about the gods of Greece today. So for today's lesson, I'll just show you the sheet. Hopefully you've got it in front of you at home or in school if you're part of key worker provision. It's got a couple of parts to it. So what we'll do is we'll pause, do the bit on the sheet, and then we'll move on. Okay? And that's what we're going to do today. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 parts with a nice picture of Zeus down the bottom for later. Okay? So let's start with the top bit. Some sentences are missing words. And I've put the words on the screen in front of you. So they say men, soldiers, king, language, Sparta, polis, and city-states. And let's see if you can fit them in to these sentences so they make sense. Let me get my glasses. Let's see. Right. Greece was divided up into different somethings. I wonder what it could be. The Greek word for those somethings is, have a look. Have a look. Which one is it? Men, soldiers, king, language, Sparta, polis, city-states. Have a go. Athens, somewhere, and Corinth are examples of these polises. Each polis was very different, but they did have some things in common, like their something. What could it be? Have a look, see what you think. Sparta was a tough place to be, tough place to grow up, and children had to train to be what? From 7 years old. Have a look at the words, see what you think. Sparta was ruled by a somebody, but Athens had laws agreed by all three somebodies. Who could it be? Have a look at those words below. You can pause here if you like, just so you can catch up and write the right words in. And when you're ready, press play again, and on we go. All right? On we go. Now, there's a new word today. I don't know if you know this word. You might do, but it's shrine. Shrine. And it's a special word, and it means kind of a special place. In ancient Greek homes, people would have shrines to help them pray to gods. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Shrines. A new word alert for you there. You can have a go at saying it if you like. Shrines. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I mean, you might not have said anything there, I don't know. But if you did have a go at saying it, good job. You did a good job, and I'm proud of you. All right. In front of you, here is an image of a Greek pot, an actual Greek pot from actual ancient Greek times. Thousands of years old. Pretty cool, isn't it? Thousands of years old. It's got a picture on it as well, a beautiful image of a man with a beard, and he looks like an ordinary guy, but he's not. He looks like an ordinary regular fella. No, he's not, because if you notice, in his hand, he's holding a lightning bolt. That gives us a little clue, because this image isn't of just a regular person. It's actually an image of Zeus. Zeus, the god of the sky in ancient Greek religion, the god of the sky and king of all the gods, king of the gods, ruler of the gods, as well as the sky and thunder and lightning. Now, each god in ancient Greek religion had their own symbol, and Zeus's symbol was the lightning bolt. Okay, and in some stories about Zeus that were shared at the time, Zeus would throw lightning bolts, throw them at people or his enemies to make things happen. Now, the Greeks, ancient Greeks, believed their gods were kind of just like regular humans in some ways. They were very powerful and they controlled everything, but they did things like they fell in love with each other. They played games, they played music. Sometimes they'd have arguments. Sometimes they'd have fisticuffs with each other, get into all sorts of trouble. So their gods weren't sort of perfect beings who knew all the answers to life. Sometimes they'd have scraps and arguments with each other, which is kind of very different to some religions and how they view their gods as kind of being a model of how to live without maybe fighting and arguing and warring and disagreeing all the time. Oh no, those Greek gods, sometimes they get really upset with each other. Okay, here's some other Greek gods to look at. Here are these nice illustrations. And we're going to use part of our next sheet as well. We've got Hades over there holding a little flame in his hand with a three-headed dog behind him. I forget the name of that three-headed dog. Maybe you remember. It begins with a C. Have a little think about it. Maybe you could add it in, do some research, add it in to the sheet if you like. We've got Athena there and Hermes as well. Athena holding a spear and Hermes, I think he's holding a pen of some description. Not quite sure, but he's got wings on his feet and wings on his hat, which means he's going to go fly somewhere with his winged hat and feet. Double wings. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Anyway, Hades was the god of death. The god of death. Athena was the goddess of war and wisdom. War and wisdom. And Hermes was the god of messages and the messenger god. Okay, which is why he had wings on his head and wings on his feet. It's because he'd get there quickly and give people the message. So there are three other gods from the Greek pantheon of gods. Okay, and ancient Greeks believed there were loads of very different gods and goddesses, and they controlled lots of things in their lives and in the world around them. So what you could do now we know a little bit about Hades, we know a little bit about Athena, we know a little bit about Hermes and a little bit about Zeus. You can add into your sheet what type of god they were. Hades was the god of death who had a three-headed dog called, I don't know, we're going to have to work that out. You might even need to Google it. Athena was the goddess of war and wisdom. You can write that down on your sheet. And Hermes was the messenger god. Okay. And Zeus, as you remember, king of the gods. All right. Pause the screen there if you just want to see those pictures and get the facts in. And when you're ready, on we go. Now, in front of you is a real place. This is a mountain in Greece. Now, back then, people believed the 12 most important gods and goddesses lived at the very top of this mountain called Mount Olympus. And from there, they'd watch over the humans living their lives, kind of watching over, thinking, I've got to help him. And actually might hurt him. And, getting involved sometimes in the lives of humans, sometimes in good ways, sometimes in bad ways, depending on who they were, what their mood was. Maybe it affected another god in some way. If they hurt that human or helped that human, maybe that would annoy Zeus and they didn't want to do that. Or maybe they did want to annoy Zeus. Part of their squabbles was that lives of humans would be affected by them. Okay? And that's the real Mount Olympus where ancient Greeks believed the gods to live. Now, in any Greek polis, in any Greek polis, it was very important, of the utmost importance, to please the gods. Happy gods helped your life. Unhappy gods, they could punish you. They could make your life a misery. Ancient Greeks then had to build special places in their homes where they prayed to those gods. Do you remember what those special places were called? It was a new word alert. Shrines. Shrines were the special places in people's homes that they could pray to the gods. They'd ask them for help and they'd leave little presents like food, little offerings to help please the gods. Because they knew that if they pleased the gods by praying to them, saying how clever or good they were, leaving them little offerings, if those gods were happy, well, they might help their lives. Because back then they believed that the gods controlled every aspect of their lives. So a happy god might mean a happy life. So that meant building shrines, praying to the gods, leaving little offerings. Now, in part 3 of your sheet, I'd like you to have a go at writing down the purpose of shrines in people's homes. Why did they have them? What did they use them for? What were they hoping was going to happen? Have a think about what we've just discussed and write it down. Pause here if you want to have a little read of the writing to help you formulate your own sentences. And once you're done, on we go. Let's have a remember. Now, shrine. We just talked about it. If I had a special place in my home where I could pray to the gods, what would I call that place? I think you said shrines. And if you did, you're spot on. That's it. If I pray to the gods in the middle of the street or in the park, am I at a shrine? No, I'm not. A shrine is a special place that I build in my home to pray to gods. It's not just in the park or in the street. That's just being outside. Well done, guys. I hope you remember this word. I really want to get it into your noodles today. Shrine. All right, let's move on. Now, every Greek polis had at least one temple dedicated to the god Zeus. Remember, the god of the sky, the god of thunder and lightning, the king of the gods. So every polis had a temple for him. And in every temple, there was probably a large statue of that god or goddess. But also, each polis had a kind of favorite god. For example, the people of Athens loved the goddess Athena. Can you see the link between the two names? Athens, the polis, the important city-state, and Athena, the goddess of war and wisdom. Her special symbol was an owl. And you can see on the screen a coin from ancient Greek times with an image of Athena and an image of her symbol, the owl, a wise owl. Okay, and we still kind of make that link today between owls and wisdom. I wonder if it's because they've got big eyes. I never quite knew that. I have to work that out. Or maybe it's the link to Athena. Who knows? All right. Athena lived on Mount Olympus with the other gods. And there we can see an artist's impression of what Mount Olympus might look like with all the gods living on it, with their fancy buildings. Look at these amazing golden spires and turrets and pillars. It looks lovely. Earlier, we saw just a photograph of Mount Olympus, a realistic photograph of Mount Olympus, but this is sort of an artist's impression. So here are some other gods. You might have heard of them. Poseidon was the god of the sea. Poseidon, whose symbol was a large fork, but not the type of fork you eat your peas with or a sausage, a large fork called a trident. And Poseidon was a god of the sea. The god of war, there was another god of war called Ares. Ares wore a helmet and armor, and he carried weapons like he was ready for war at any moment. The wife of Zeus was another goddess called Hera, and Hera was the goddess of fertility and family, a really important figure in Greek religion. All right, so there's some other gods. Poseidon, the sea god, Ares, the war god, and Hera, the family and fertility goddess. So there's 3 other figures from the pantheon of Greek gods and goddesses. Now, the last part today is just a little image of Zeus there. You can see a drawing with his lovely beard and long hair and the lightning bolt held firmly in his fist. So what I'd like you to do is colour in the sheep, colour in Zeus, colour in the lightning, colour in the letters, and write down some facts about Zeus. We know that he was the god of thunder and the sky. We know he was the king of the gods. We know that he lived on Mount Olympus with 12 of the gods in the Greek pantheon. And we also know he was married to Hera, who also lived in Mount Olympus and was a goddess in her own right. Right, that's the end of today's lesson. So just to recap, we revisited some of our knowledge about Greek policies, the city-states like Sparta and Greece. At the start of the lesson, of course, we talked about Sparta having a king and Athens having a sort of early version of democracy where the laws were agreed by all 3 men. We talked a little bit about shrines, and that was a key word for today, shrines, these special places where people worship their gods. And we learned some of the gods and goddesses from the Greek pantheon: Zeus, Hades, Hermes, Athena, Ares, Poseidon, and Hera. Just some of those gods from the Greek pantheon. There's loads others, lots of interesting characters, monsters and creatures from Greek mythology, and we'll try and cover those as we go on through our lessons. Now, next week, we'll be recapping a little bit about Greek gods. We will. We're also going to be looking at Persia again, because guess what? It's time that Persia start a bit of a battle, a bit of a fight, a bit of a war with ancient Greece. So we're going to look a little bit about those battles and wars next week as well. In the meantime, good luck with your learning. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon.